Warning. Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
That's right.
Warning. Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
And you have entered the propaganda report with Brad Binkley. I am your host here this evening and every evening here on the propaganda report. I don't know that we're live on Rockfin or Instagram because I had a couple sites go down when I made the mistake of updating my computer before the show, hoping that it would make it run a little smoother. So I was going to apologize to those viewers on those two platforms. But if you're not viewing it, then you don't know it's not there. So we'll go ahead and skip past that. We have a great show for you this evening because we have a great guest joining us to talk the Epstein emails, Mamdani maybe, and whatever else comes into the discussion. Welcome back to the show. A good friend of mine, a fantastic podcast host, the man who has put together the Third Eye Carnivals, which go on around the country and are a fantastic time for like-minded folks such as us. Steve Poikonen. Steve, did I just butcher your last name as I always do?
A little bit, yeah. It's all right.
A little bit, yeah. No, I always get a little nervous about last names, and I pronounce them perfectly before the show and butcher them beforehand, or during the show. I apologize about that, but welcome to the show, dude. I love talking to you. You're one of my favorite people to be a guest on your show and to have on because you're chill, you're open-minded, you don't get butthurt if everybody doesn't have the exact same opinions, which I think is something that's really struck me lately, is a slight disagreeing about certain things really seems to trigger people. And, they say clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right is how the song goes. I feel like clowns to the left of me, grifters to the right. Here we are stuck in the middle with each other. How's it going? For most of our listeners know who you are, but just briefly tell them who you are and tell us when the next Third Eye Carnival is going to be.
I'm fantastic, Brad. Thank you for having me back. I do love hanging out, shooting the breeze, and talking about all of the stuff that we do. If you don't know me, I'm Steve. I host a couple of different shows, which you can find on Rumble and Odyssey and BitChute and Substack and stuff like that. The easiest way to do it, just AM Wake Up on the Rumbles, and you'll see everything from there because the website got a little messed with earlier in the year, and I'm trying to get everything under control with that, which is always fun. But yeah. I don't know, man. I've been doing this for like 8 years and have a lot of fun with it. And yes, you should go to Third Eye Carnivals, the live in-person events that we do. Brad did stand-up with us in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, along with Leonardo Joni and Sam Tripoli. And that was a whole ton of fun in the middle of a big old rainstorm in a barn in the middle of nowhere.
One of the best times I had this past year, and I encourage anybody, if you are nearby, I know you do them all over the country, to attend one. It's just it's a laid-back group of chill people who don't agree about everything, but are cool with it and can have conversations with each other, and good music, good comedy, good art. And I think it's great that you're doing that because I tell you what, staring at a screen all the time for me, it can make you go a little crazy.
Yeah, you have to get out into the great outdoors. You have to meet people in three-dimensional space while it's still mostly legal.
Right. Yeah.
It really is important for us to get together. And I've always, said that I really I've always hated conferences and that whole idea of everything that,
there's an agenda with a conference usually.
Yeah, and it's just such a, I don't know, overly professional atmosphere to have to try to engage with people in.
Right.
Which is why people typically at conferences will ignore all the stuff that they're supposed to learn so that they can get obliterated and get some stranger ass. And that's, we don't want to do that. We, you know, want a different thing. So I know how to throw a party.
Yeah. You told me that beforehand, and you did not disappoint for sure. It was truly a great time, dog friendly, good time, and yeah, it's awesome. So I love that you do that and have the energy and capacity to do that. I think you even traveled like across the country. I don't think you like airplanes. I think you're like me. I don't like airplanes at all.
No.
Yes, you guys made the trip, and definitely check those out. And you do. Along with your shows, you kind of host a network of shows. Is that right?
Yeah. There's a number of other shows that we simulcast or co-stream and stuff. So there's content on the channel 7 days a week. In fact, tonight there's a show that runs and Friday and Saturday and Sunday are running content that's off. You know, that I'm not necessarily a part of it all. Just, you know, cool to have it out there.
Yeah, totally. So I did I've done the Saturday show. You guys do the late night Anarchy. Is that?
Oh yeah, Saturday Night Anarchy. Heck yeah,
It's a fun show with a lot of different guests that pop in. So there's always something going on there. It's like the alternative to having to watch a bunch of homosexual sex on Netflix or any of the other streaming platforms which they offer. As you can go listen and join in good conversations. So I love that, and I don't know how you do it, man. That's hard work. People don't realize, who don't do it, how challenging it is to do just one podcast by yourself without having the whole network of people behind you helping you pretend to be a podcaster like the Jake Tappers of the world do. So to be able to work with so many at a time, it's hard work. And with that in mind, and with just everything going on in the world right now in mind, let's start with something a little bit silly that I was inclined to make fun of when I first saw it. Of course, now it's not letting me show it on screen. All right. Well, it's a New York Times article it's like a dark moon on the image. It's put the paywall thing up, otherwise I'd show it to you. But the headline of it is "Screaming is all the rage." And the brief little synopsis, it says, "Everyone seems to be screaming to the void these days. New items pop up about people who have gathered to scream. Not in protest, but just to scream all over the country. In a new twist on service journalism," it says, the Los Angeles Times ran a guide to the best screaming spots in the city, similar to guides that exist for Boston, Seattle, Denver, San Antonio, and Grand Rapids. Even Backpacker Magazine recognized the demand, running a listicle of 6 great voids to scream into this election season. And then it talks about how there's a lineage in Greek mythology of people so deformed by grief that they take on an entirely new shape and lose access to normal means of expressing themselves. And so I guess you have to scream it out. And they even created a website, which I can show you, called Screaming Into the Void. I don't know that you get the...
I got to tell you, I don't hate it.
Right.
I don't hate it.
Right, yeah. So there's Screaming Into the Void here. You can type your feelings in, which I don't know if this will help you get it out. Like it. What should we scream into the void here?
Let's see. I'm furious Angel Reese isn't more respected as a dominant female athlete.
That's a good thing to be angry about, actually. She's dominant. And then you hit. Glad nobody read that, is what it says.
Excellent.
It's pretty funny, and that's screamingtothevoid.com if you want to play
Excellent.
with that. Yeah. So, yeah, no, a lot of what makes me want to scream into the void, and this is, I think, a product of when a Democrat is in power, all your Republican friends love what you say, you know?
Yep.
When Republicans in power, all your Republican friends call you a terrorist.
Yeah.
Not, I'm being extreme, but it's very much. You can see some of the. It's not quite as extreme as the way a Democrat might react when a Democrat's in power and looking at your content, but you do see similar things going on the right that everybody seemed to recognize who's on the right happening with the left when it comes to the expansion of government, to the you're not allowed to ask questions about certain things. To Epstein was super important all of a sudden. Why are we still talking about Epstein? Which Trump's very effective at putting a message out there and really getting people who are loyal followers of him to accept it, even if they were just the opposite before. That whole principle of influence, of liking somebody, making them have an influential power, really showcasing just how powerful it is. Because I get it. I think Trump is very likable for someone like me, and I think he's funny. But I'm like, that's going to be the person sent to propagandize me. I have to criticize him more. But just what are your thoughts on the way everything's playing out in the way the public has kind of responded to this administration?
Well, it's you fractured the base, certainly.
Oh yeah,
without any doubt. So the way that I look at this stuff is, a couple of years ago, I was telling anybody who would listen, they're gonna swap Joe Biden out. I mean, this is 2021, 2022. They're gonna swap Joe Biden out. They're gonna place Kamala Harris in there. It'll happen sometime right before the convention, something like that. That was my best guess. Turned out to be like 3 months or something like that.
Only after Jake Tapper exposed the problem, right? That guy.
Yeah. when they all got the script and they were like, 10 minutes before the debate started, they're like, boy, old Joe's gonna go out there and just smack the socks right off of Donald Trump.
Yeah,
he's going to verbally punch him so hard, just Joey uppercut that Trump will
really build it up.
Yeah. And then they handed him the script mid-debate, and they're like, wow, I have never seen a loser like Joe Biden before in my entire life. What a demented piece of shit. Kathy, can you believe how out of his pants he is right now? I would be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if the president of the United States didn't do a little poopy right there in front of everybody.
It's crazy. And Jake Tapper's debate moderating performance, I haven't done this. I don't know that anybody has, but the difference, I noticed it like right away in real time. I was like, Jake Tapper's moderating this the exact opposite. He would be running interference in all of these moments. It was crazy. But to continue your point, you're talking about that in 2021 before all of this happened.
Oh, yeah, dude, trying to get people to understand that there's larger things in the movement of power than just running for president of the United States, and that the people that were backing Trump, and then ultimately the people that installed JD Vance into the administration, are there to build out the actual infrastructure of our technocratic digital prison. And that's exactly what's been happening. And just like you were saying, my friends on the right were like, oh, I didn't realize you were Antifa,
Right. It's crazy.
And it's like, dude, what the heck? No, that's very dumb, but okay, let's move on. And so now that Trump has gotten into office, and it's been from day one, Stargate this, weapons to Ukraine that, I'm the peace president, let's go get involved in or start wars on every continent. I'm the I'm the guy for the economy. Meanwhile, like 50,000 more jobs cratered last month. There's people that are under more economic stress right now than they were last year.
But it's fine. The prices are down, except for coffee. They say that Trump's doing that interview with what's her name, Laura Ingraham, talking about the prices are down.
Oh,
so
man.
I get his level. So his ability to do forceful influence, to say stuff forcefully in almost a shaming way to anybody who disagrees with it. I mean, that's his strategy of influence. But I think when it comes to, I can't go in the grocery store and you walk in, it's like an $80 entrance fee. It's crazy.
Man,
it's hard to convince people that unless they're already wealthy. Like
I
and
live
not
in
even shopping
Marin
for themselves.
County, like, which is not a cheap place to live, bro. And I, it can be 60, 75 bucks a bag, 90 bucks a bag, depending on what's, and it can only, there was just the other week I went and I only needed 5 things. And some of it was like meat and shit from the butcher, but I actually have a relationship with the everybody behind the meat counter there, and I get fucking hooked up, and they get AM Wake Up merch and fucking other shit like that. They're fucking concert or comedy club tickets and shit. I've thrown them. I've had friends that have come to town like, hey, let's get you on a guest list and let's get me 4 of those and 3 of those, and it works out. But still, man, 5 things. It was like 85 bucks.
It's wild, dude. And you're seeing people nowadays, and it's such a, I get it. I get how it works. I've told the story many, many times. The first time I truly encountered a pathological liar. I'm not saying Trump is that. I'm saying all politicians have to kind of embrace that mentality when there's a narrative they have to follow. I root for Trump. Like, I want Trump not to be what people might predict that he might become. I don't want him to. But I'm going to point out when it appears that there's a push towards war with Iran, and that's what it looks like to me. And then I see people who liked Trump because he was talking about how Biden's going to get us and keep us in these forever wars. They're being roped into supporting maybe going into war with Iran off of a fear of Muslims. Do you feel like there's a push towards war going on?
I believe we're in several.
That's true.
We changed the Department of Defense to the Department
right.
of War.
That's a signal. It's a little bit of a signal.
We've got Pete Hegseth just yesterday going, this feels like a 1939 moment. Yeah, I mean, it's,
right, dude. What is that?
It's the war minister going, all right, guess what, kids, we're rallying up your sons and daughters for another sacrifice. It's look, here's the thing, folks. We sold most of our weapons to the Israelis and the Ukrainians, so we've got to make more. And the only way the people that invest in the weapons make any money with the more that we make is if we use them. So much like we had an ideological, but with bombs, global war on terror, Trump has now got us into a global war on the cartels.
Right. And
so,
yeah,
almost 20 boats in Venezuela and Colombia off their coast and international waters have been bombed. 0 shred of evidence produced in terms of whether or not there was even any drugs on the boat. That's crazy. Ever since Trump got into office, the Somalis have been bombed 71 times. Trump just keeps bombing the crap out of Somalia. Nobody ever reports on it, talks about it.
Right. And so I didn't even know it had been bombed that often. What's the basis for the bomb? Is it drugs?
No, it's terrorists.
Okay.
You see, the terrorist organ, we hate terrorists, Brad. We hate the terrorists so much, particularly the ISIS and Al-Qaeda kind. We hate them so much that one of the Al-Qaeda commanders who overthrew the Assad government in Syria just got a red carpet greeting and freaking got bounced on Trump's knee for a day there in D.C.
Just take off the turban and put on a suit. Just put on a suit. Don't wear the turban.
Maybe trim the beard.
Trim the beard a little bit shorter. Like they had like a measuring thing because he did have it a little bit shorter. And so like the idea that, so you have Mamdani who won election and he's the mayor of New York now. which I think to me was very obvious that everybody on every side who's in power wanted him to win, because had they not, they would not have run somebody against him whose campaign slogan might as well have been, sometimes it takes a sexual harasser to stop a gang rapist, a Muslim-led gang rape. Like it's just like, that's like the best you can. I might have killed your grandmother and fondled your sister, but at least I'm not a brown rapist. It's that. I mean, that's like the best. They obviously didn't want somebody to defeat him, if that's the case. And now I see a meme going around of, and you know, I'm not like, people who share this, I love them. They're friends of mine, but I got a meme that was like, it was New York City, and then it was they forgot, you know, and my first thought was, oh, you believe the official 9/11 story now? Is that that's a premise of this meme having the impact that they forgot because it's tied to Muslim things. And then my next thought was, that'd be a strange, because you're hearing from the Ben Shapiro's of the world that there's going to be another 9/11 type attack, and they're kind of tying it to Mamdani, and I'm thinking that's a weird thing to do. You win the mayor position in New York, and then you bomb it. I think that would be a strange thing to do. And also, Mamdani was a rapper from 2016 to 2019, and his mother is a Bollywood and Hollywood who's directed many stars. She's won many, many awards. She's a director, and her dad is a worldwide, well-known public intellect. He is an elitist.
Yeah.
His ideas and maybe the normalizing of some of them, I don't agree with. I just see him being used to stir up fear of another Muslim attack.
It's a little bit of that, but it's also the further implementation of those policies is like a direction for the Democrat Party, especially if you listen to, you know, party elders and leaders talk about the guy. So what I think is, specifically because of the background that you just laid out for him, is that he's been groomed for this spot for almost a decade, if not longer. The Democrats knew that they needed, they knew they had a weak bench. They knew they needed to inspire a future generation of leaders.
Yeah.
You know, they knew they needed to do that. And the people that they had currently were garbage. They were putting raw frozen hamburgers and pieces of cheese on it and standing next to it grinning like a psychopath, like they use a grill all the time.
Right.
You know, that had no heat under it, by the way.
Right.
Like,
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
It's just...
You know, they've got freaking 15 house Bernie Sanders or whatever as we fly on private jets to Coachella to bitch about the rich.
Yeah.
Bernie and fucking AOC.
I would say Mamdani probably also doesn't know how to use a grill.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Yeah, and it's obvious that he's not a grill master because of how anti-utensil he seems to be. You know, so you would think that like a spatula just doesn't even exist in his house.
Yeah, of course
it's all just, you know. Well, I mean, hey, look, when everything is finger food, you know,
right.
What do you need a spatula for?
Right.
But I think they needed a new Obama-like figure, or like a Brown Bernie type figure, and he checks off all of the panic button boxes for the right. So they love him for that, because we're in an era of spite politics now. It has had nothing to do with policy. Just, will it make the liberals cry? Will it make the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Own the libs thing on the right has, I think, has kind of played its course now. It makes me cringe more than anything else when I hear it now. But I think that this also... It plays into, if there is going to be a push with a war trial, with Iran. I don't know. Is there so I know with the way that Kiev is pronounced, it indicates you're on one side of something or another. I don't know if Iran and Iran is the same way. So I'm ignorant to that. I don't want anybody deciphering any signals out of that. But I believe that the USA Today story, which I try not to analyze content in a way where I'm influenced the most by where it comes from, because every
Right.
source tells true things and every source tells false things. So if you're married to the source, then that's you're going to be poisoned with stuff that isn't true one way or another. And I try and analyze the content for the content's sake, which is difficult. But the USA Today, with their article about the Pentagon talking about considering doing a recruitment campaign targeting TPUSA and making it built around Charlie Kirk, how he created a generation of warriors. I can see a lot of this stuff in the messaging building up to that possibility. The Pentagon did deny this, but then you see Pete Hegseth go out and at his funeral, and he actually used very similar language that was used in that article when it comes to some of the slogans they said that had been considered. And they talked about targeting all TPUSA events, and it like doubled. There was thousands of them, and then it doubled at least after Charlie Kirk's death and his funeral. And at first, my thought was that's not going to go over well unless they do a campaign that gets them to a place of TPUSA members of being willing to do what Charlie was. You can say what you will about him in a lot of ways, but he did seem pretty consistent about not wanting to continue forever wars. And I think that campaign around him would be met negatively unless a couple of things. Unless they were convinced that Iran influenced whoever killed Charlie Kirk in that chat, and or they were convinced that there was people, Muslims, coming after Christianity and Christians, and that they were directly under attack, and that they needed to fear. They needed to protect Christianity by joining the military and fighting for what Charlie fought for during his life, which is spreading the gospel and spreading TPUSA. And you see the story, and I only know what the arguments and counter arguments in the mainstream media are. I don't know the full details about what's going on in Nigeria, but I know that it was the first time I had really heard Trump talk about Nigeria and it being an attack on Christians by Muslims. It's a very specifically oriented messaging that, to me, that struck as something being communicated to like TPUSA, almost a post 9/11, like the Muslims are coming for you if you don't join up and fight them where they are first. Am I off base on that? What are your thoughts?
No, look, it is shaping up that way again. There's a lot of people that are trying to run with that like old time post 9/11 feeling, and in my opinion, it's coming from the Knesset. It's coming from Israeli intelligence and allies in the United States throughout various sectors in media and entertainment and government. Because war with Iran doesn't benefit anyone in the United States at all. Not a lick. But it does benefit our greatest ally, 100%. And it always has. And so this is where the TPUSA thing becomes interesting, because the Israeli interests were being rapidly deprioritized within that organization and among the under 35 demographic as a whole over the last couple of years significantly. Right. You look at anybody influential in terms of pushing the interests of the Israelis, and they'll all tell you, we're losing the conversation, we're losing the youth, blah blah blah. That the propaganda is really stupid, but most people are stupider than they have been in the modern era in a long time. Brad, what do you think?
I think that most people are more emotional. I think it's easier because of social media and how connected all the the screens and the messaging can be, that it's easier to quickly separate people into groups and then turn them against an enemy that's been created by the propaganda. And then at that point, it's not even a matter of intelligence, because people aren't speaking or reacting through deciphering and analyzing things. They're reacting through the hate of the other group and the fear of what they've been led to believe is coming, which I think. I don't think so. The propaganda, all these propaganda books in the old days, 100 years ago, they used to talk about the different types of propaganda for different groups, and that for people who are intellectuals and stuff, that they were some of the easiest to bamboozle because they thought they could never be deceived, and that as long as you can get people to short circuit their critical thinking and have a passionate hate for the other, then they will scream, as we talked about earlier, without even thinking. And I think that's what's going on. So I don't think I think for us, because like for me anyway, my kind of knee-jerk reaction is if I feel too emotional about some appeal that I see from somebody that I identify with that has a big influence, and my first reaction is to step back and rethink it, just because I've been doing this for so long. But I get how doing base appeals that seem kind of dumb are the easiest to trigger emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what most of the mainstream alternative media is. It's people knee-jerk reacting to get their takeout the fastest, to try and win the race for, most clicks,
be first. Absolutely.
Potentially going viral, kind of thing.
There's no race to be the most thorough and factual,
Yeah, the day the Charlie Kirk got shot, I didn't say anything online. I don't even know if I said anything online that day. I don't, other than at the time, like, shit, I hope his family's okay. That now, that you're always safe in the loving arms of a honeypot until you're not.
Unbelievable.
But woo. That whole thing got even more interesting real quick, and I think it's going to stay that way for quite a while.
Because the trial itself won't be for another probably 3 years, maybe. And so that's going to
about like 6,000 witnesses or something like that.
Right. And yeah, so what are your thoughts on everything going on with that?
It's all fake and gay. I think that I do believe that he actually got shot. I believe there was a blood sacrifice called for. But as far as the official narrative goes, that none of it holds water to me. As far as people in his security detail being involved, it appears that there were people who behaved out of protocol. I don't know about you, Brad, but after the loss of a loved one, I wait at least 6 to 8 months before I break out my skin tight leather pants.
Well, for me, it's have I done a wash? Or are those the only clean pants available?
Right.
But I thought, I thought that was an interesting choice as well. I also
think about the morphing into Tammy Faye Baker.
Yeah, right. That's an interesting comparison there, because it is a little bit of that. I feel like she's probably her entire life dressed that way. Honestly, I would be one to speculate that the majority of her pants could be not trying to criticize that type of outfit, because she's always been in these types of competition and always been very Barbie dollish. That whole TPUSA group, I find to be, and I'm not saying that they had any involvement. I do not know. I don't know. The whole thing is strange to me. I know that there's lots of things that we don't know. I think that there's a bunch of arranged marriages. Everybody that speaks at these events, they're like 21, 22, and they're like my wife, my husband. They're all married. Candace Owens, to me, I think is pretty. If that's not an arranged marriage to the son of a British lord that started Parlor,
she lost the bikini competition and baton twirling competition to right. Erica Kirk for Charlie.
That's yes, dude. She really
Erica out twirled her in the finals.
Yeah, Charlie said, I'm okay. I'm not racist, but I'd prefer a white girl. Perhaps he said, I don't know, but yeah, every time the background of those two, it very much comes off as an arranged marriage, and that's fine. I get that people, they want to pair up that way, but it's just I think that the whole culture of that, and I'm not, and I think some of what I think Christian values, and I'm not, people right now are fighting over what Christian values are, like Judeo-Christian versus Christian. Yeah. I think Christian values are a very positive thing. I don't know about the closed behind the door operating of organizations like that. I'm always suspicious of them, especially when there's so much money changing hands.
Yeah. The whole thing is it doesn't pass any of the smell tests with me as far as legitimate or lone wolf or grieving widow or non-compromised organization, root to branch at this point.
And the spokespeople, this is what, when I mentioned earlier, counsel left of me, grifters to the right. This is what really, for me, it becomes challenging, because the spokespeople that at least are branded as speaking for TPUSA, I don't even know if they're associated with them half the time, but it'll be, you'll see Ben Shapiro. I know he's not a member of it. I know he donated $1 million to it, allegedly. And then there's the Josh Hammer. Like, literally, I didn't know who this guy was until a few weeks ago. Highly unlikable person, in my opinion.
Yes.
And then some of the other guys, I kind of feel sorry for them. Some of them seem genuine, but also it's kind of a clear they're delivering a scripted message, and I also am aware that they've probably been told they're not allowed to talk about things when it comes to an investigation. Whether I distrust the FBI, absolutely, but it doesn't change the fact that an actual criminal investigation into a murder, you can jeopardize the integrity of the case if people start people who are going to be witnesses start going out and talking. So it's tough. I don't trust them, but that's also how it works. But then so my distrust is high on that side, and then on the other side you have a Candace Owens who will say things that I agree with sometimes that I don't necessarily believe she's saying. I think she might be a little disingenuous sometimes. It's the both sides have to tell a truth to lie. Propagandists cannot lie without telling the truth. That's something people should always remember. Propagandists cannot lie without telling the truth. That then has that trust and makes it easier to tell the lie. And I don't believe Candace Owens is a genuine actor by any stretch of the imagination. So that's why I think I mentioned to you before, I gotten called the anti-Semite and 7K Israel shill. And I'm like, it's crazy, because a couple of people call me that have been like longtime listeners of the show. And I'm like, have you forgotten? I mean, I'm very clearly not a 7K paid Israel show. I don't even ask you for, I don't even ask you for money half the time. But I'm getting called that because of this knee-jerk reaction cult. This is the enemy. This is the good guy. And there's nothing in between. And it's just like take the shot, take the jab, or you're one or the other. And like you mentioned, it's kind of that war on the right now. Where do you see this going?
I mean, if they get their way, it marches us directly into the digital prison.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the Nick Fuentes cross promotion is strong. I see a fracturing with MAGA right now that is going a couple of different directions. And one is, I'm pretty sure that you're going to see, either as a Republican or an independent, a legitimate challenge, a legitimate effort from Marjorie Taylor Greene to get into the White House.
You think she's got to run for president?
Heck yeah. I think her whole interview with Tim Dillon that she did a few weeks back was 100% on the campaign trail style answers for absolutely everything.
So she was doing a little practice. She's getting her messaging down.
Yeah. Yeah, and no better place to do it than with Tim Dillon, because he pretends like he's not a part of it, and then he'll go and have dinner with JD Vance.
He's right.
Jared Kushner.
He's got RFK Jr. I think he's funny, yeah, but like also I'm kind of like, you're a little connected to be, you know,
little bit. No, I mean, I feel the same way, dude. Tim Dillon does some really, really funny things, and then he does some things that are just 100% propaganda, and it's like, that's right.
Yeah. And he'll be like, I had dinner with these billionaires and somebody in the administration. Although he doesn't attempt to necessarily be like the common man, he's very much like he's made money. And he's living in that, but I don't know. I'm still not convinced he's gay. Personally, I do think he's funny.
Oh yeah, you think he's pretending?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I just every time I watch him, like, he's gay. Really, he's gay? Maybe my stereotype of what a gay person isn't. It, you know, I know that everybody doesn't fit into the stereotype. So that
it's not all Atlanta,
right?
Out there, it's not.
Right. It's he's not. He doesn't have a rainbow crosswalk that he's shown me, like every crosswalk in Atlanta. So
that's hilarious. I think it was Dan Soder on a podcast said that Tim Dillon is the only person he knows whose money finally caught up to the lifestyle and attitude that he had always had and was trying to live.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it came into fruition, and he, I just have this image of him when he had Cheryl Hines on, just dressed as almost like, I know it was Halloween, so I shouldn't be too critical, but I was like royalty, both of them. It was interesting. What do you think about shifting gears, but also it's all kind of intertwined? The story everybody's talking about today. Actually, before I go to that, I meant to show you this earlier. An example of the screaming into the void. This is a Chicago screaming into the void meeting out by the lake.
Love it.
What?
We've got a little kid out there. It's like, it makes me think of an improv exercise, honestly. This type of thing you see in an improv theater.
Okay, now pretend you're batshit crazy.
Everybody scream. Yeah,
the TV controls all of your thoughts and emotions.
Well, what it is in improv is probably a similar philosophy there is when you're warming up is to do good improv is you got to get all the shit out of your mind that is weighing you down so you can be in the moment and react in the moment and authentically. And so the exercise is like, all right, just think of all the stuff that's worrying you, that's on your mind, that's been weighing you down, and just kind of put it into a paper. One of my directors, in fact, the best director I've ever had, Bob, if you're listening, I know he's a listener.
Hey, Bob.
Bob would love the Third Eye Carnival. He'd love it. You wad it into a ball and you just throw it out of the room and it's gone. And then there's others who just have it. You scream it out of the room. Everybody's collectively screams, which I had not really seen outside of the improv theater arena until I started seeing these scream sessions. So
I saw the scream therapy in what looked to be the Pacific Northwest with a bunch of women doing like rage therapy and banging sticks on the ground. Stuff like that.
Right. At least it's not directed towards someone else. It's positive in that.
Right. And even when it is directed towards someone else, that someone else is in Mar-a-Lago with a 6-pack of, 17-year-olds blowing them. And not even, you guys aren't even facing the same direction. Is where he is. At least the Muslims face Mecca, when they go and do their thing. You could at least face Washington D.C.
choose a
or
direction.
Southern Florida,
Right.
in order to properly direct your anger. Yeah.
The Lincoln Memorial or something where they're going to be doing weigh-ins for the UFC fight they have on the back.
Yeah, those guys were facing the Hancock building.
Of course.
And hey, what's that going to do? What are you trying to do?
So the Epstein emails that came out, and let me preface this with a quick little rant that I always have to do with the Epstein emails before you give me your thoughts on that came out. What did not get revealed with the Epstein emails is they did not talk about the Epstein document that has been public for years. The court documents, a plea negotiation letter written by written by Dershowitz, which includes the names of 5 individuals who lent their name to this document, which was created for the purpose of helping Epstein get that sweetheart deal. And those names being Bill Clinton, Martin Novick, Lawrence Cross, Roger Schnack, and Martin Seligman. And at least 3 of those that we know of continued taking money and advocating for Epstein after Epstein got out of prison. And one of them has not once, in public record anyway, been asked about his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, nor his inclusion in this document designed to get Epstein that deal. That man being Martin Seligman, who is currently the head of the UPenn Positive Psychology Center. He developed the theory of learned helplessness back in the 60s at UPenn, around the time MK Ultra research was going on there. And his work on learned helplessness became the CIA's basis for the post 9/11 black site torture interrogation program. His work inspired part of Ted Kaczynski's manifesto, according to Ted Kaczynski. In a year after his name appeared in that document, he was given a $31 million no-bid contract to conduct psychological experiments on the military, the Army specifically, that was viewed by his peers to be against the Nuremberg Code. And the foreword of one of his books was written by a doctor who died mysteriously in Singapore in 2014, while at the same time that doctor was being accused of conducting similar experiments as to Seligman's learned helplessness. Dog torture is what Seligman did in the learned helplessness, except this guy was being accused of doing that on children, and that doctor's name was Anthony Kidman, Nicole Kidman's father. And Seligman, who is considered the top, by the elites, he is considered the top behavioral psychologist in the world. He's currently being used as the subject of a test AI program that can copy his brain so his knowledge can be used after he's gone. He's very much the psychologist of the elites and the head of the U.S. brainwashing industrial complex, and has never once in public record been asked about his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, nor his inclusion in that document. So that is the Epstein document that nobody talks about. With that said, what's your thought on the emails released by Congress that came from the Epstein estate that reference Trump's name? And I've only gone through some of them.
Yeah. It's, I guess they think that it's enough to satisfy or calm down the people that have been clamoring for it. I guess they thought that, like, okay, maybe this will shut them up, and now let's go into the distraction grab bag and throw everything in the world at them, including Sydney Sweeney staring at an interviewer for 3 seconds and making that
right.
A penultimate moment in the annals of white supremacist history.
Right. Who was in a movie she played a lesbian in a movie, did she not, just now?
Oh, the boxer movie thing? I just found out that was a thing this morning. I had no idea.
Yeah,
maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Yeah.
They're angry that a lesbian, I guess, didn't play that character. And it's funny that I guess the people going to watch it are going to be people on the right who normally are like, I'm tired of seeing all these lesbians in movies, these characters, but it's Sydney Sweeney. Yes.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah. So like what they were, here's how some of the emails that I've come across so far are being framed. I do think the look that she gave is hilarious to that. Like she is the matter-of-fact look by that journalist that was just seemed to be intimidated by her,
Yeah.
Yeah. So she seems to not care, and I can appreciate that. But it's these emails where it's like Epstein telling Ghislaine Maxwell that Trump is the dog that didn't bark. He sat at Epstein's house with Guffrey for a few hours. And so then you have the counter of, but Guthrie said that she said Trump didn't do anything. I will say that Trump's response to this every time is the worst possible response he could have. Like, what a retard. He's like, are you talking about Epstein again? This Democrat hoax. It's this. He's trying to use that forceful, listen to me and just mimic what I say type of influence instead of actually maybe address, because this is one of the things that I think is more sensitive to people who voted for him than others, since they did campaign on this subject. I think you should be a little more tactful in that, but
well, he was always cagey about it when he was asked directly, but every single one of his surrogates, including JD Vance, and most definitely now director of the FBI, Kash Patel, and Deputy Director Bongino, like, we're hammering Donald Trump Jr., hammering home on the Epstein files the entire campaign.
Absolutely. And to kind of act like it's you're dumb. Like Trump said, part of his response was, Democrats are trying to bring up Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything to deflect from how badly they've done on the shutdown. Even if true, even if there's truth to that, I don't care. Stop calling something that all of those people you just mentioned talked about exposing that are now part of your administration and your family, got people to vote for you on, and so the other emails were like, it was Epstein talking to, what was it? It was a month before Trump met Vladimir Putin and Helsinki in 2018. Epstein attempted to pass a message to Russia's top diplomat. If you want to understand Trump, talk to me. And there was a little back and forth of where he told him there needs to be something where it seems like Trump is getting something out of it, which to me, I'm like, that's like the obvious thing of every interaction. I don't know that that's very insightful by Epstein, but the framing of it by the Politico and other news outlets was Jeffrey Epstein claimed he gave Russian insights to Trump. And what the reaction has been is that there was Russian influence despite what the Republicans tell you in 2016. And I know because I looked at the response, and I'll show you, and this is just one person, that like every single response, the Midas touch. I don't ever see those guys. Those two brothers, I think, that run the Midas touch. That's kind of small there. So this is a post where the emails released today shed new light on Epstein's vast influence network, foreign leaders, political bosses, billionaires, journalists, government officials. Jeffrey Epstein said in emails that he had been advising the Russian government on how to deal with Trump. That's not actually what he said in this email. He said, I can't even hardly read that. He said, Shukoff, or whatever his name is, was great. He understood Trump after our conversation. It's not complex. He must be seen to get something. It's that simple. And now you see this email, the most important part of this email, which is hard to see, but it's 2018. This is 2018. And then like half the responses are like this right here. How the hell have they sat on these emails for years? They should have come out all the way in fucking 2016. And then like every other post is that same thing.
Yeah.
This proves that there was Russian collusion. And this has almost 500 hearts on this one. And it's got 13K views. I just posted this emails from 2018. That's all I posted. And I got 44 and 990. And another guy, I posted the same thing, same response to, and he's like, but it still proves it. I'm like, what? And that's when I told him that confirmation bias is a hell of a drug, because it doesn't actually prove that. It tells you what you want to hear in terms of it. Not to defend Trump's response or anything. The more Trump behaves this way in it, I think the more he opens the door to people actually changing their view on what his involvement might have been if they don't think he was involved with Epstein. So it's just another. Like we're bringing back the 2016 election interference thing with these emails, and it's just like we're doing this again. Like again, are we out of things that we're rebooting the 2016 Russia thing?
It's like Hollywood. They're out of freaking ideas. They don't want to pay for the actual talent. They don't want to develop the people who are actually good at the job. They want to bring on people who are loyal to the boss and who will help push an agenda and not ask questions and, go ahead and show up at the parties and do all of the things that get them compromised and elevated. And that's the only people that they're interested in having in the Trump administration.
It's almost like to a point where there's people that just go to Washington and say, compromise me. I don't care. Give me the power influence. Please compromise me. And, the timing of this couldn't be more perfect, Steve, because I know that you're going to have a lot of questions for this person. The President of the United States. Mr. President.
Hey, Brad, Ian, you look a little different tonight.
This is not Ian, Mr. President. This is Steve of AM Wake Up. You met him in Tennessee during the tornado show.
I couldn't see. The microphone was covering his face. It's great to see you again, Stephen.
Good to see you again as well, sir. It's I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I hope you've been well, and that your booty hole has recovered from your last meeting with Netanyahu.
Oh my goodness!
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness!
There's a lot of really good food over in Israel. So.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you constipated sometimes.
I believe he's talking about you getting maybe bent over a little bit.
Oh, no, that's not happening, Brad.
Not even willingly.
You're just not getting, railed like how the West was settled by the Prime Minister of Israel.
Mr. President, some say, not me, but some say the best orgasm comes from, getting pounded by Netanyahu.
We're just trying to, I don't hear you guys be like, hey, great job on peace in the Middle East. It hadn't been done in 72 years, it's 2,000 years or however long the world's been around. I do all this work, and not only are my supporters upset at me, but, the Antifas are all upset. Everybody's just so upset, and so much good things have been done. Have you seen the beautiful ballroom?
I have been checking in on the Trump International Ballroom and Casino. I am looking forward to the inaugural opening night. Is Lee Greenwood really going to jump out of a cake?
Yep, He's going to be in the cake, yeah. Those aren't real cakes too. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it's not a real cake that they come out of. It's like a big sculpture of a cake that's made out of like paper mache or something, and then they put icing on top of that.
Oh, so
that would seem like a waste of cake, and also a possible choking and or breathing hazard for the person inside.
Well, if it was real cake, they'd have to probably, I don't know how they'd get them in there without baking them,
Without baking Lee Greenwood inside the cake.
Right. And as far as I know, Lee Greenwood is fully against getting baked.
Right. He's not Jewish, right, Mr. President?
I don't know if he is Jewish or not, Brett.
Yeah. I don't think that he is. But do you have anything to say? Your response earlier about the Epstein emails that were released today was that Democrats are trying to just bring up the Jeffrey Epstein host as a distraction or hoax, excuse me. Can you elaborate on how you feel about these recent emails released?
Well, the Democrats can do a lot of things. They got a lot of white hats and things like that working for them. And they're going to say a lot of ugly things right now because, the government's open again. They're split down the middle over it. They're all really upset with each other. The communists. The communists, Brad.
It seems like sir, if you don't mind, it seems like the government was shut down for nearly 40 days. And the only thing that really changed between the start of the shutdown and the end of the shutdown was that somehow hemp became illegal again. And so an industry that's generated $30 billion annually and provided 300,000 American jobs is now on the chopping block. And this is just the non-psychoactive
The
hemp
rope,
products.
the one they make the rope and the clothing out of.
Yeah. What's if that comes to your desk, sir, are you going to sign off on
How much money did you say it made again?
it's $30 billion annually and 300,000 jobs.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be looking to get rid of that anytime soon. At least I can assume I wouldn't do a thing like that. That would be really stupid, wouldn't it?
Right, that would be that would definitely. I mean, especially with trust among farmers being in an all-time low for the administration, and even the threats against the major meatpacking companies don't solve the problems with the lack of actual production centers in the United States. And it seems like Make America Healthy Again has turned into let's destroy the rest of American ranching and small farming.
Yeah, we need more meat packers, don't we? We need them all to pack that meat.
Yeah, that's not, you really.
Is that why you gave the $40 billion to Malay in Argentina? Because JBS is an Argentinian company and Harvey Milei knows how to pack the meat?
These are some really hard-hitting questions we got here. Some really, really hard-hitting questions.
Yeah. Go
What?
ahead.
Go, no,
I was gonna say, go ahead. Yeah.
No, please, after you.
Well, I was gonna say
I'm just a patriot, sir.
He's expressing a point of view that some people rooting for you, Mr. President, that have been a little bit taken aback by some of your administration's actions are feeling. I think.
Well, not everybody's gonna like everything, Brad.
Really? Can I get a shot at Melania, Mr. President?
No, absolutely not.
No. What about when you're gone?
I told you, Brad. You keep bringing it up. I don't want to have you iced.
You got me deported.
Could both Brad and I get a shot at Ivanka?
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about my daughter now.
Why'd she marry that gay guy?
He's not gay, Brad. He's not gay. Come on.
He's got a high voice. It's a little high.
A lot of people have high voices. When you were younger,
looks like
you
if
had
you
a high
balded
voice
and melted Mr.
dropped.
Bean.
What do you think of that, Mr. President?
Balded and melted Mr. Bean.
He kind of does.
I never thought that. I never really liked that movie. I didn't think that Mr. Bean was that funny.
The Brits, they don't do humor like us, sir.
No. They're not as funny as we are. They're not as strong as we are.
They're not giving you the intel. Also, the five eyes.
They're just also letting their country go to hell.
What do you think about them not sharing intel with you? That's the story anyway, because they're part of the Five Eyes, which is a global intel network to spy on everybody around the world. They're not going to share it I believe it's because of the boat. Am I correct in this, Steve? They're not sharing intel because, at least this is what they say, because of the strikes on the boats, the drug boats.
Yes. Yeah, they're pointing towards what does amount to now 17 or 18 separate violations of international law and actual what is that? Sir, how come you haven't produced a single scrap of evidence that there are actual drugs on the boats that you guys have been blowing up over the last couple of months?
I mean, there's less people overdosing from fentanyl every day.
Can you actually prove that, or is that just something you're saying because we don't have to see your shifty little eyes move while you say it?
But I need more than a day to prove it. But yeah, we know it's the truth. The liberal media is going to go out there and they're going to say a lot of fake news.
Well, I mean, the liberal media was definitely on your side, but going back in your first term when you were trying to overthrow Venezuela. Do you remember, sir? This is hilarious. When you sent a boat full of commandos and they washed up on the Venezuelan shore and they all got caught, and then you tried to tell the world that there was a dude in Venezuela that nobody had ever heard of named Juan Guaido, and he was the legitimate president of the country when 85% of the people there had no idea who he was, couldn't pick him out of the lineup. That was hilarious. That was
Well,
classic Trump.
you
Are we
know,
back
he
to those
is
days?
he is the rightful president over there.
It's
One-
not your girl now with the Nobel Peace Prize, the Senorita Machado?
I mean, she is, but you know, I'm talking about like they've still got the election and everything to happen over there. There's a lot of complicated things going on in Venezuela.
How many wars have you ended, Mr. President? would
At
you say?
least 7, 14.
At least 7. Yeah, 7 to 14.
7 to 14, you know, what are the kids saying these days? 69 or whatever.
6-7. I believe it's 6-7 that they're saying
6,
these
7,
days.
sir.
Yeah. Some I think of the 69 is. I
You know,
believe it's-
69 is a lot funnier than 6-7.
That's a sex act, I believe.
Yeah. No, the 69 was definitely more popular back in the day.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
6-7 is. I'm not sure what 6-7 means exactly. Have you guys seen, Mr. President and Steve? Have you guys seen the trailer for what was Steve Bannon apparently in like 2018? Because he's also mentioned some of these emails. He was going to do this documentary for Jeffrey Epstein as what's alleged to be part of an attempt to kind of restore Epstein's image. Some of that is, I think there's more information about that I'm trying to learn right now. But there is a trailer for this documentary. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Mr. President, have you seen that?
No.
I want to watch that. This is like just 1 minute, just because I think it's relevant right now since Steve Bannon's name does show up. And Steve Bannon, that guy's it's an interesting character for sure. The guy who's saying that you're going to have 3 terms, Mr. President, but here is that trailer made by Steve Bannon's that was for a Jeffrey Epstein documentary that has not come out.
Of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein inside a New York City jail.
We were underage. We were little girls. By the time I was 16, I brought him up to 75 girls.
He was glib, and he lived essentially like he was Gatsby. He was an absolutely terrifying person to encounter.
You own an island, right?
True. Thank you very much.
Two islands, the islands of Dr. Moreau.
Correct.
Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire New York businessman whose vast wealth brought an arrogance that knew no limits. He acted as if he could have anything he craved.
Reporting the FBI is now looking into how it can interview Britain's Prince Andrew over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
I made my living from old thinking, but the future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would in fact be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up.
Federal prosecutors said yesterday video of Epstein's jail cell when he made his first suicide attempt no longer exists.
And Jeffrey Edward Epstein.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes. Epstein got away with his crimes because nearly every element of society allowed him to get away with them.
This morning, we're learning new details of the exact cause of death of former registered sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein.
The greatest threat to people put in solitary confinement is they try to kill themselves. Imagine that. You're only in a room for 24 hours, you start to go crazy.
The monsters. Epstein's life among the global elite. Now, it doesn't appear as a reputational rehabilitation thing, but he agreed to do 16 hours of interviews with Steve Bannon. And Epstein was famous for not doing interviews with hardly anybody unless they kind of were shaping things in his favor. Now, if he died and Bannon was going to change this, I don't know. But Mr. President, isn't that odd? Like Steve Bannon, he's got all this footage. Where is it? Do you know anything about this?
You know, me and Steve only talk every now and then. I mean, the film looks riveting, though. I didn't know that he was the producer of that Monsters series. I've heard it's pretty good. I've been too busy, you know, ruling the free world to really pay much attention to films these days.
Well, yeah. So I think that I think is my opinion is that the film industry is going to shift back to right-wing war promoting films in the next few years.
It would be a lot better than the dribble they're putting out. I'll tell you that's for sure. That Acolyte, was a really, really terrible show. And I said, once you go woke, you go broke. And look at them all. Look at how bad the movies and video game industries, the music,
the video game industry.
Yeah, they're all doing it. They all.
You play Freezer Pops.
No, I don't play Freezer Pops, Brad.
Just finger pops.
I know you play Freezer Pops. I know everything you play, Brad.
You got it all through Peter
through
Thiel.
The Five Eyes.
Yeah, the Five Eyes. They've let you know. They said all the intel.
They said we're not going to give you any intel on that we've got collected on the United States, except for on Brad Binkley, because you wouldn't like what he's been saying about you behind your back. That's what they said to me.
All right, so you say Brad Binkley, you wouldn't like what he's been saying to. Hold on, Mr. President, to you behind your back. That sounds like something, Mr. President, that you might want to scream into the void. So for your benefit, Mr. President, so we can get that out, screamintothevoid.com. Brad Binkley, you wouldn't like what he's been saying to you behind your back. There you go. Scream that into the void. That's there's people who are screaming into the void, Mr. President, because they're trying to unleash all their anxiety, anger, and frustrations about what's going on into the world. Steve, do you have any more questions? Anything you want to bring up to the president here?
Let's see, Mr. President, who exactly do you plan on having fight next 4th of July at the UFC match? Because I imagine the finishing touches on the Trump International Ballroom and Casino will be handled right before for that big that big celebration.
You're talking about a UFC fight?
Yeah. Well, it was your idea.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know what you were asking there.
Yeah, who's fighting? Have you and Dana? You're good buddy Dana White. Have you determined a card for that evening?
No, we haven't had time to put that together. As I said earlier, it's not. If I was a king, it wouldn't be so hard to rule. Ruling over the free
could I make
world
a couple of suggestions real quick just for the undercard?
Yeah, go ahead.
You get Representative what's her name, Luna?
Oh yeah, Anna Paula Luna, the AIDS.
Anna Paula, you
stripper.
get her. Yeah. You get her to box Ilhan Omar.
Nice. No burkas allowed.
Right, Lauren Boebert versus AOC.
There you go.
Yeah. My money's on Boebert.
Right,
Nancy Mace versus a transgender.
Yes, Nancy Mace versus John Fetterman.
Okay,
I think that's a fair fight. He did have a stroke. And yeah, maybe you could settle some congressional beefs while we're at it within the UFC, if possible.
That'd be a good.
We also get Candace Owens versus Erica Kirk for the rights to hump Charlie Sports once a year.
Now we're talking. But Candace Owens will promise not to be fighting Erica Kirk the entire time.
Yeah.
They do it. That's how they do it.
What about MTG? Maybe running for president, Mr. President.
Good luck. She's a very nice lady. She's out of her fucking mind though.
Yeah.
She's batshit, Brad.
Yeah. Why?
Why? Do you listen to anything she has to say?
Just what specifically?
Most stuff just goes in one ear and out the other,
right.
Like the whole thing with her and the
Who was that, Mr. President?
Don't worry about it, Brad. I've got a lot of things going on, okay?
Okay.
Did the ISIS head chopper, the Al-Qaeda head chopper that you yourself had a $10 million bounty on his head, who you rolled out the red carpet for the other day, did he leave a couple of his goat wives in Washington, D.C.? Is that what's going on back there?
Look, we're not fucking any goat wives over here, okay?
That was an odd noise, sir. I had to ask. You did have the Al Qaeda head chopper is your new best buddy in Syria, around the house the other day.
Listen, all right, I don't come on this show to get bullied, okay?
Mr. President, we offer you the platform because we know you can take the hard questions. That's all.
Nobody's trying to bully you, sir. You're damn near king of the world.
Well, if I was a king, it'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? I mean, these communists are real pieces of work.
Like Mamdani?
Oh yeah, Baghdad, Mamdani, or whatever.
Yeah, Baghdad.
I did see where South Korea just gave you a golden crown. Congratulations on that. Does that mean you're the king of South Korea now?
Hell yeah.
I should be.
They could be the 52nd state.
But I think it's like in Game of Thrones, it's like the Golden Dragons. It's just some type of currency over there or something.
Okay. So you can get like internet time with it, or
perhaps, you can get internet time or a ladyboy.
Knock off Labubu.
You get a ladyboy, you said?
Yeah, they got a lot of ladyboys in those Asian countries, bro.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Transgender is essentially what that is.
I did see where a couple of Congress critters got popped at a South Korean brothel not too long ago on an away trip. Yeah.
Where do you find all this stuff? Are you on the dark web?
A lot of this stuff shows up in even the mainstream news, sir. It does.
Lindsey Graham has been banned. He can't get into those brothels anymore down there. He tries. He definitely tries. Lindsey Graham, he calls his butthole Auschwitz, Mr. President, because a lot of Jews, millions of them, have come inside there.
He calls it Auschwitz?
Yeah.
I don't know what you said the first time, but it sure wasn't Auschwitz.
Well, you know what I mean. Mr. President. All right, I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's been about an hour 15, so I think we can wrap it up. But I do want to see if you guys are as concerned with this as the media seems to be. There's an article here. Apparently, there's a problem in podcasting. There's a diversity problem. That there's a new report released.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. There's a diversity problem in podcasting on which anyone who has a phone or a computer can do on their own.
That's exactly. We're aligned in thinking there, Mr. President, because that was exactly.
These are more of these communists, Brad. They've been infiltrating. They told us they would. You guys probably know better than I do. With the communist playbook and all that type of stuff. But they told us what they were going to do, and they're doing it right in front of our nose, and nobody seems to care. Especially the New Yorkers. I love New York, but I don't love the New Yorkers. They say the United States gets the president that it deserves. You know what I'm trying to say. So New York is going to get what they deserve.
Yeah. Instead of the previous guy he was running against who killed everybody's grandmother and fondled everybody's daughter's breast.
Hey. He was just being Italian.
Yeah,
it's not sexual assault. It's cultural history.
Right.
I don't like Cuomo, but do you think who do you think the better choice was? Baghdad, Mandela?
Yeah,
I was hoping that Curtis Sliwa was going to pull through, sir.
Yeah, I think they propped up Cuomo because everybody, including the right, wanted that guy to win for either one of two reasons. One, they were going to use New York as a pilot example to show that those policies fail, or two, that he's just going to be another controlled elitist because he is a former rapper whose mother is a Hollywood director with many, many awards who he used to act in her films. He's just going to be the Muslim face of the controlled Muslim face of whoever's pulling the strings, who just does the same stuff that every other Democrat does.
Brad, you know what I think is going to happen? Have you ever seen the 1980s classic Escape from New York?
I have. Oh, really? Yeah.
I think it's going to wind up like that.
It could be, yeah.
And we're going to have to annex New York.
To bomb it. We should bomb it, right?
Unique New York from the Union,
Yeah.
You nuke New York?
You nuked New York.
Yeah.
You
That's a tongue twister. Try and say that one 5 times fast, boys.
You nuked New York. You nuked New York. You nuked
You got it,
New
Mr.
York.
President. We weren't being literal there, but you did it very well.
I'm just proving I can do tongue
You did it the
twisters.
best of anybody could do it.
Nobody
That's why
can
you're
do
the
tongue
greatest,
twisters.
sir. That's why you're the greatest.
Nobody can do tongue twisters better than I can do tongue twisters.
You'd spend you all day. You do tongue twisters. I'll give Melania a tongue twister though. If you
Oh,
just give
come
me a
on,
shot.
Brad. Come on, that's really rude.
So this study was done. Here's what it found. It found that
Everybody wants a shot at Melania.
the top 100 podcasts were overwhelmingly white and male. A new comprehensive study from USC says of the top podcasts, 64% were hosted by men, while 77% of the hosts were white, underlining a severe lack of diversity in the medium that continues to rise in popularity. And then it even goes on to mention the guests are predominantly male, so it's a gender thing as well. And this, to the surprise of no one, is a report titled Inequality in Popular Podcasts that was authored by Dr. Stacy L. Smith at the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative.
Jeez. You know, where is Annenberg?
Oh my God! It sounds like it's in the middle of Rosie O'Donnell's pussy.
Yeah,
You know, it really does. Have you seen the movie where Rosie plays the retard?
I would assume that was all of her movies, but
Well, you know, you're right. You're right. She really is retarded. She's a retarded, horse-faced pig.
Wait, Steve, have you not seen her play the Down syndrome person?
I haven't. No,
we'll do that.
Oh, you need to.
If you have time, I'll show you that.
Oh well, we were gonna do the watch party. Maybe we just have Steve on for the watch party.
What's the What's the name of the movie, Mr. President?
Riding the bus with my sister.
This is hilarious. You're gonna love this.
You gotta look out though. There's a lot of fake trailers for it.
Riding the bus.
This is going to be your new favorite movie. You'll watch
I
it
bet
every
there's a lot of
Christmas.
fake trailers for it.
I think this is a 30-second one. This is definitely a real one. And then there's a clip, so we'll do both. We'll do a short clip and a trailer.
It's really my favorite movie.
You should have a viewing of it on the White House lawn.
You know, we should do it in the ballroom. That could be part of the ballroom ceremony.
Everybody gets to watch it when they tour the White House. Okay, here is Riding the Bus with My Sister, a promo for the Hallmark Channel.
Rachel is beautiful and successful.
Lovely.
Beth has a style all of her own.
Excellent.
They have nothing in common.
I didn't even know you had a sister.
She's retarded.
Now they're going to be more than family. They're going to be friends.
That's you and me now, Rachel.
A film by Angelica Houston.
I like you just the way you are.
Rosie O'Donnell.
You're weird.
Andy McDowell.
So are you.
Riding the Bus with My Sister. Tuesday at 1 on Hallmark.
Black guy.
I'm dancing
with the Negro.
I think that's her boyfriend, maybe, that she talks about throughout the whole picture.
Really? Here's a scene with her on a bus in the film.
Yeah, she talks about him here.
You've seen the whole movie, Mr. President.
Just pieces, bits and pieces. It's my favorite. Watch her oink her way onto the bus.
I'm my savior. I'm not your savior, I'm just Beth. Cool Beth. Oh,
I heard
that's
she
boring
improvised
clothes. What, am
a
I
lot of her
scaring you? Want me to scare you? Go, go, go! Beth. Yeah.
Pay her no mind. It's just a harmless retard. Just don't make eye contact.
I'm hearing you! So, Rick, when you gonna take me for a ride in your car, the green car with my cape
I can't believe she did this.
Oh, Olivia, huh? Yeah, it's Olivia. She's pretty and she's nice. Oh, that's a house where me and Eugene lives. I think he's a jerk. You think he's a jerk, Rick?
I don't think he's a jerk. I think he's a little impatient.
Yeah, well, he put up that sign in the bathroom that says only employees can use it.
That didn't stop you, though, did it?
No, because I'm a person, and it's just a bathroom. If I use it, I don't think I'm hurting anybody.
There we go. Rosie O'Donnell, just a harmless retard.
Yeah, and she
Or
was
is
activisting. You know, it's just a bathroom. Any person can use it. You know,
Right. Tell that to those guys at the Starbucks back in 2017.
predictive programming right there in your faces.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do need to do a viewing party. That's a good idea, Mr. President. Steve, thank you for joining us and for all your insights and just talking some trash with us. Always appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you again.
Yeah, so for now, just go to Rumble and look up AM Wake Up. We are there, or hop in our Telegram group, t.me/AM Wake Up /1 for the invite link. It is a lovely place. Again, content 7 days a week, various different shows and hosts and all that kind of good stuff. And Brad, it's always good to kick it, my friend. Always good to see you, sir. Mr. President, always an honor. Very
pleasure was
happy to
mine.
have met you in person in Tennessee earlier this year. Hopefully we'll do that again next year.
Hopefully it won't be in the eye of a hurricane, you know.
Yeah, no, coming back in the fall next year.
Awesome. It was very rock and roll. It was a great time. Everybody check out what Steve does, Third Eye Carnival, if you're near one. Mr. President, is there anything you'd like to advertise while you're here? Netanyahu.com or...
Just the ballroom, you know, where all the, they'd never found any gold paint like that before.
What was the air vents? What do you say about the air vents in the one video?
They're matching.
Okay, the matching air vents. That's right. Okay, well, check out the matching air vents in the White House ballroom, and you guys can find all of my links.
I cut the floor myself. The marble.
I'm sure you did. You did. Nobody's done construction like you since Jesus, Mr. President.
No, it's true. It's true. My father did a lot of construction, and I was very young, but I listened to my father a lot, talking to people. He'd pump his arms up and down and talk like this a lot,
Yeah, we can't see you, Mr. President, but we can visualize you. So I appreciate that. But propagandafight.com is my website. At Freedom Act Radio on X, all my links are in bio. No feet pics, but if you want to donate the show, we would love to have donations. PayPal link, single-time donation. If you want to get access to subscriber-only show that I do with Austin Ricard and Sam Tripoli, go to patreon.com/propaganda report or locals.com/prop report, where you can get access to whatever this is, that show with Austin and Sam, as well as the audio version of this show if you're listening on your podcast app. Ad-free. I take out all the ads for subscribers. Share the show with your friends. Leave a 5-star review and a comment that warms my heart. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the participation in the chat. And thank you, Mr. President. Thank you again, Steve. We will talk to you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of y'all's day. Bye.